The latest news, national issues, the political scene, and conversations with prominent personalities. All these firsthand at the forefront. Good morning. I am attorney Karen Jimeno. VP Sara Duterte heated up news and social media during the weekend when she decided to stay overnight at the House of Representatives to accompany her chief of staff, who was detained due to contempt. She went ballistic and mouthed a handful, from disclosing that the envelopes containing money to be given to officials were ordered by the First Lady, to a disclosure that she has directed an assassin to kill the President, the First Lady, and the Speaker of the House in the event that she gets assassinated first. VP Sara later on clarified that what she said was not an active threat but a conditional one. Did Vice President Sara Duterte just have a meltdown, or was it out of frustration to get back at her supposed persecutors? Live at the BNC studio is political analyst Professor Malu Tequia. Good morning, Professor Malu,
Morning,
and good to
Karen.
have you back. And together with Professor Malu, we have one of the most elusive but important political figures, former Executive Secretary, Attorney Vic Rodriguez. Good morning, Attorney Vic.
Good morning, Attorney Karen. Good morning, Professor Malu. At magandang umaga sa lahat ng nanonood ng inyong programa.
So let's first start with the press briefing that VP Sara had in the wee hours of Saturday morning. How would you characterize her statements there?
Prof. Malu?
That was a presser. That was an emergency presser for the simple reason that her chief of staff was being transferred. At the wee hours of the morning, with an order that was presented to her, and Attorney Lopez made a stand that she will not allow that. And rightfully so, because she is neither an accused nor a convicted person. She was placed in detention because of contempt. No? The committee decided to cite her in contempt because of undue influence in the hearings on that day, on the hearing of the House. So it wasn't prepared. It was her way of hopefully those present during the presser to witness what was going to happen. Good thing nothing happened because Attorney Lopez had a medical condition.
And just to take a step back, when you said she was being transferred, it was an order to transfer Attorney Lopez to a correction facility, which is a real prison, right?
That's right, that's right.
So I'd like to take a step back and take advantage of Attorney Vic as a lawyer. Would you first look at, if you look at the order citing Attorney Lopez in contempt, is that one legal or in accordance with the rules? Because the contempt that they were citing her for was for a letter that the Office of the Vice President wrote to the Commission on Audit in relation to certain documents. But is that contempt?
Alam mo, Karen, let's put it in the proper context of Karen and Attorney Karen and Professor Malu. Naabuso yung proseso ng investigation in aid of legislation. And the contempt powers, there is no debate that Congress have the power to initiate and conduct investigation in aid of legislation. But may mga boundaries, may limits yan. At kapag yung pang-aabuso sa contempt powers, ginagawang punitive. The contempt powers of Congress is an incident to compel appearance and obedience to their lawful and coercive processes. However, hindi ito kaparusahan na pag hindi mo gusto yung sinagot sa iyo ng resource person mo, you will dangle the threat of you will be cited in contempt and you will be in detention for God knows until when. Depende kung maganda ang gising nila, pawawalan ka. Kung hindi, makukulong ka. And the worst part really is, iko-commit ka sa correctional facility. Hindi naman nag-commit ng criminal act yung tao.
Yeah, she attended as a resource person.
She attended as a resource person, hindi lang gusto nung convicted na mambabatas yung sinagot ng resource person. Kaya siya sinight in contempt. Yan pang-aabuso yan sa kapangyarihan ng Kongreso.
And is this the first time that this happened? Because from what we understand, she has been detained since Monday for 5 days when this happened. And the order seeking to transfer her to a correction facility was served in the middle of the night, I think close to midnight. And they cut off her electricity and water. Are those accurate?
Siguro, Attorney Karen, just to give context, that letter was made before any hearing of the Good Governance Committee.
You mean
it
which
was
letter?
The letter that
the Office of the Vice President wrote to the Commission on
That letter
Audit.
was made to the Committee on Appropriations way before. So when they dangled that, there was no mention of the date. It was really used as a tool to pin down the office of the Vice President. Second, I just want to make this clear, Attorney Karen, there was a procedural lapse. Because if you remember, Congressman Paduano said when they ruled on the contempt, they said, Attorney, you can file for a motion for reconsideration. And she did on that day.
Which was what day?
On Wednesday?
Wednesday or Thursday.
Because that was the last session, right? When she made on the spot, it was given to the committee, and she was saying, can you rule on this? So if there is a pending, which is a motion for reconsideration, and then all of a sudden, on Sunday dawn, you come up with a order, hindi ba maling-mali yung procedural doon?
So, if there are violations of due process here, Attorney Vic, what would be the remedy of Attorney Lopez?
Well, of course, sinabi na nung kanyang mga abogado that I think pleadings have been drafted and ready for filing. But let's be real, let's get real. Saan mo ifa-file? Yung motion for reconsideration that she did on the spot in front of the committee that's investigating her was not acted upon. And immediately, they issued an order committing her to a correctional facility sa Mandaluyong. Hindi nga convicted naman ng kahit anong kaso yung tao. Ito ay contempt. She was just cited in contempt. At meron namang facility yung batasan. Bakit mo persahan ililipat in the dead of the night? That is very malicious. And worst part, of course, I'm sure, I just cannot cite now the specific provision in the revised penal code, Attorney Karen, but definitely, kahit sa special law, merong na-violate dyan. Because the PNP personnel who were on the ground failed to render assistance to a person who is already suffering from a panic or anxiety attack. Purposely, hindi nila tinulungan, they delay bringing her to the nearest medical station.
Well, I watched the press briefing of Attorney Lopez also, and she said that they were also trying to get her phone. So if there are constitutional right violations, I mean, even cutting off her electricity supply and water supply in the detention facility in Congress, can she not go to the Supreme Court and claim
on a weekend?
Like a petition for certiorari on abuse of discretion based on the contempt order?
Right na may mag-file ng petition sa Korte Suprema para questionin yung pang-aabuso sa karapatang pantao ng Kongreso. When you go there as a resource person, you have to draw the fine line. Resource person kang inimbita, and slowly, the questioning tends to be that are propounded on a resource person, nagmamature, nagtra-transition into akin to a custodial investigation. And iba ang rights ng resource person, ibang-iba yung rights ng isang taong under custodial investigation. And when a person who is undergoing a custodial investigation invoke his or her right against self-incrimination, you cannot deny that. They're denying it in Congress. Hindi dapat pahintulutan yan.
Well, there was also some of the disclosures of Vice President Sara when she had a press brief that there were white envelopes for DepEd officials that were ordered by First Lady Lisa Marcos. Let's watch this clip.
That's the biggest story.
Lisa Marcos, naalala mo, nagpadala ka sa akin ng video? Sinabihan mo ako saan kukunin ang pera. Pinakita mo ang muka ng tao doon sa video message mo. Hi, this is she's been working with us for the longest time. We trust her. You sent me written instructions about money. Millions a month. Anong nakalagay doon sa envelope? DepEd. Anong ginawa ko? Binigay ko sa DepEd. Wala ka ngang posisyon sa gobyerno, namimigay ka ng pera ng gobyerno eh.
Attorney Vic, you've worked with the first couple before as executive secretary. Do you think there's basis for what VP Sara is saying?
Iyan, Attorney Karen, yan ang mas malaking storya. Iyan ang dapat imbestigahan, yung pamimigay ng pera. As to whether there's basis on what Vice President Inday Sara said, that's why, I do not know if you get a copy of my book. In one of my many revelations in my book, yan ang sinabi ko maraming nakikialam sa Malacanang at yun nga rin ang ating sinasabi, iisa lang ang may mandato maging Pangulo. At maraming gusto maging Pangulo, wala namang mandato. It's exactly what I think the experience of Vice President Inday Sara nung sinabi niya yan nung gabing yon.
So are you saying that the First Lady interferes in the affairs of the government?
Matagal ko na sinabi yan, yung sa appointment pa lamang napakaraming pinakikiusap na appointment galing sa kanya at linahad ko yung listahan na yung special list of appointees at doon din naman nagsimula yung aming hindi pagkakasunduan nung hindi ko binibigyan ng daan yung kanyang mga hinihirit na appointment. Paano mo i-appoint yung hindi naman qualified?
And Professor Malu, how would you describe this type of governance? Do you think this is similar to President Marcos Sr. and former First Lady Imelda Marcos?
Alam mo, ang pagkakaiba nun, Attorney Karen, si First Lady Imelda Marcos may katungkulan. Alam mo yung sinabi niya ditong nakakayanig sa taong bayan, na dapat tayo mabahala. Yung sinabi niyang hindi ka naman tao ng gobyerno, nagbibigay ka ng pera. That is a very strong indictment to what is happening now. Kasi kung hindi ka tao ng gobyerno, hindi ka accountable. You can do all sorts of things that adds credence to what Attorney Vic was saying. Even sa appointment, even sa pamahalaan, nangingialam. Bakit? Bakit inaalaw yun ng isang Pangulo? Walang mandato ang First Lady. Si Imelda Marcos, may mandato, naging MMDA chairman. I mean, binigyan siya ng katungkulan para may gawin. Ito, talagang walang katungkulan, First Lady ka lang. I mean, I'm not making it First Lady ang role mo. Ano ang dapat ang trabaho ng First Lady? Hindi makialam sa bürokrasya. Yun ang telling.
And, well, there was a part in the press brief that I got confused with in the statements of VP Sara. So let's watch this clip.
Sasabihin niyo sa mga tao, nakaw yan, confidential funds yan. Niwala nga kayong isang proof na confidential funds yan. Naniwala lang kayo sa isang babae na ang pangalan ay Gloria Mercado na nagsabi confidential funds yan, na hindi nyo nga nilabas na wala pang confidential funds, meron ng white envelope.
That's the part that confused me. What is that white envelope? Because the hearing in Congress in aid of legislation is about the 125 million confidential funds for the Office of the Vice President. And if we're talking about the confidential funds of DepEd, that's about 112 million. But what is that white envelope?
I think Attorney Karen and Prof. Malu, she was referring to yung una niyang sinabi na nag-uutos mamigay ng pera bearing the envelope bearing the seal of the DepEd. So yun siguro in relation sa sinasabi niya na wala pa yung issue ng confidential funds ay meron nang namimigay ng pera ng isang taong wala namang katungkulan sa gobyerno. And yung confidential fund, uulitin natin para hindi mawala yung ating mga kababayan, binibigyan po ang Office of the Vice President, I think until January or February of 2025, next year, to submit and comply with all other documentation. So wala pa hong findings of guilt ang COA. And ang ginagawa ng komite ng Kongreso na nag-iimbestiga, kinuha na rin nila yung kapangyarihan ng COA. It is only COA, the Commission on Audit, who can determine whether there has been a misuse or abuse of public funds. Hindi yung Congress. Sila nga ang dapat imbestigahan.
Oo. Attorney Karen, just to yung envelope, kasi wala talaga si Yusek Mercado sa script. Bigla na lang inintroduce siya. Tapos pagka-introduce sa kanya, prinesent yung puting envelope. Tapos sinabi, galing yan sa confidential fund. Yun ang conclusion. Hindi naman natin alam na meron na palang binibigay. So walang sinabi doon si Yusek Mercado na ito'y natanggap, saan galing yan? Siguro sa confidential fund. So it was a conclusion that was accepted by the committee without any, yung chronology. Kailan ba nangyari yan? Di ba? Yun ang napakahalaga kasi binubuo nila yung storya, mali ang paggamit sa confidential fund. So, yung tungkol sa sinasabing puting envelope, yun. Kaya kung titingnan nyo sa chronology, kailan ba na-introduce si Yusek Mercado? Just to put a storyline na gumagamit ng confidential fund para magbigay sa mga opisyal. Ang issue nga kay Yusek Mercado, dahil siya ang hope yun sa procurement law.
Head of the procuring entity.
Diba? Yan ba'y binibigay dahil ikaw ay hope? Oo, ma'am. That's a conclusion that has no support. Supporting documents. Tama rin yung sinabi ni Attorney Vic, under sa audit code, may procedural na naman tayo. Yung notice of cash allocation, hindi yung period. Maghaharap kayo, kahit sa local government nangyayari yan. Reconciliation, bakit ba nag-notice of cash notice of disallowance? Dahil kulang ang requirement o walang plano. Babalik tayo. Kailan hiningi ni Vice President yung pondo? August 2022. Kanino hiningi? Sa Presidente. Ang Presidente nagsabi kunin sa contingency at pumunta sa DBM to finalize these things. So bakit siya ang sigurong dapat sagutin ni Vice Presidente is the use, the implementation, but the source and the authority emanated from the President. So, again, that is a story that needs to be debunked. Because from the very beginning, sinasabi niya, mali ang gamit mo, wala kang plano. Yung plano nasa sulat kay Presidente Marcos ng August 2022.
Dagdag ko lang, Attorney Karen. Tama si Prof. Malu, the spring cannot rise above the source. The source of the funds the funds came from the Office of the President. Lagay lang natin sa tamang konteksto. Sumulat si Pangalawang Pangulo Inday Sara Duterte kung maaari ba siya o entitled ba siya magkaroon ng confidential or intelligence funds sa Office of the President. Tumugon in the affirmative. Sabi ng Office of the President, yes, pwede kang magkaroon ng confidential intelligence funds. Bigyan nyo yan. Bakit ang iniimbestigahan? Yung Office of the Vice President lang. Hindi ko sinasabing wag imbestigahan yung Office of the Vice President. Pero kung gusto ninyong makatotohanan ng investigasyon, imbestigahan din ninyo yung pinanggalingan ng pondo.
But do you think that would ever happen if this is Congress investigating?
And that will never happen under this Marcos Romualdez administration.
Si Sir
Never.
nandun pa nung humingi ng di ba nung August nandun ka pa eh.
Yung sumulat siya, but when the fund was released, wala na ako doon.
So again personal knowledge. Ang dami kasing binabato dyan sa committee yan, from Quadcom to the good governance, na wala namang personal knowledge. Yun yung issue ni Attorney Lopez. Kung ang gusto ni Vice Presidente, ganyan ang setup ng bureaucracia niya. Ikaw ba as Chief of Staff, dapat kang makialam Diba? Yun yung problema
But
na...
the Philippines is still supposed to be a country governed by the rule of law.
Yes.
So if we're saying that there are violations that are occurring, what would be the recourse for the Office of the Vice President, for Attorney Lopez? Or if there are things that need to be investigated, where should this go?
As of last week, Attorney Karen, napakahusay mo ring abogado, no? Nagpupulong na yung ibang kilala kong lawyers organization, except IBP. I cannot speak on behalf of IBP. And they're very, very quiet, by the way. May mga grupo dyan, kagaya ng Quezon City Trial Lawyers League, sila ay nagpupulong na at tinitingnan na yung maaaring gawing petisyon sa Korte Suprema, hindi para patigilin yung ginagawang investigation, kundi ilagay lang sa tama yung pagtrato sa mga resource person. Sinasalaula na yung karapatang pantao ng lahat ng humaharap dyan sa Kongreso. Let me just briefly raise this. Yung isinantabi na ho yung saligang batas Yung Article 3, value wala na ho sa Kongreso Yung Article 3, Section 1, no person shall be deprived of life, liberty without due process of law. Number 2, yung Article 3 pa rin, Section 12, na hindi mo pwedeng gamitan ng force or intimidation that will vitiate the will. Pag dinanggel mo na hindi ka makakawi ngayong araw na ito, society in contempt, magbabago na yung pananaw mo doon. And finally, Article 3 pa rin, yung Bill of Rights natin, Section 17. Yung right against self-incrimination, uulitin ko, pag ikaw ay subject na ng investigation, akin to a custodial investigation, any moment, you can invoke your right against self-incrimination and no one and nobody can deny you that.
And VP Sara also claimed that she already talked to an assassin in the event that she gets assassinated. Let's watch this clip.
May kinausap na ako na tao. Sinabi ko sa kanya, kapag pinatay ako, patayin mo si BBM, si Lisa Araneta, at si Martin Romualdez. No joke. No joke. Nagdilin na ako, ma'am. Pag namatay ako, sabi ko, huwag ka tumigil hanggang hindi mo mapatay sila.
This statement, is this a serious threat? Or out of frustration? Are there any legal consequences to this?
Alam mo, yung sinasabi kasi ni Executive Secretary, active threat daw. Siguro kay Attorney Bersamin, ikaw naman ay naging Chief Justice, balik tayo sa grammar, English construction, yung use ng if, then. If something happens to me, then. So, conditional. At saka, hindi siya threat kasi meron pang hindi sinasabi si Vice Presidente na lahat tayo hindi natin alam. Nagkaroon ba ng threat? Babalik tayo dun sa panahon na binabawasan ang security niya. Bakit siya umalma sa pagbabawas ng security? Hindi ko yun masasabi ngayon. Siguro si Vice Presidente na ang magsabi kung anong nangyari. Kaya ito is a warning. Kung may mangyari sa akin, para yung sinabi mo, pag may nangyari sa akin, iiwan ko ang mga dokumento kay Attorney Vic, kay Attorney Karen. Yun ay security. Yun ay pangpapahalaga na kahit ako mawala, na andyan kung ano nangyari.
What about you, Attorney Vic? Is there even a distinction in the law? Because there are some offenses in our revised penal code on grave threats. Is this falling under grave threats?
For me, wala pang nagaganap na krimen. Walang crime committed dahil tama yung sinabi ni Professor Malu. Yung pahayag na binitawan ni Vice President Inday Sara is predicated on the happening of some future event. Di pa nagaganap. So paano naging active threat? And gumawa rin naman siya ng paglilinaw later on doon sa konteksto, sa tamang konteksto ng kanyang pananalita. And when she said that, I think there was really a clear and present danger sa buhay niya at sa buhay ni Attorney Lopez doon sa loob mismo ng batasan.
And if this were also based on the statements, she is saying that she hired an assassin in case something happens to her, would this also be considered an impeachable offense?
Wala pa naman nangyayari, Attorney Karen. In fact, I think kaninang umaga ba or kagabi, inulit niya dahil alam naman natin ang spin. Ang nagme-meltdown dito ang gobyerno. The way they're handling the political persecution that they have initiated, sila nagme-meltdown. Inulit ni Vice President Inday Sara, at alam ko namang maraming nanonood at sumusubaybay sa iyong programa, pasimplihin natin ang usapan, binibigyan kayong partida ni Vice President Inday Sara. Magsumailalim kayo sa fair, credible, open, and transparent hair follicle drug test. Yan lang inihingi sa inyo. Sasailalim din si Vice President Inday Sara. Dadagdagan pa niya yan. Mag-undergo rin siya ng psychiatric test.
And do you think it is, well, some were saying that she should have her mental health checked.
Payag naman siya, Attorney Karen. Payag siya. Walang problema kay Attorney Sara Duterte yung paghahamon na yan. In fact, sabi niya, call. Pero bibigyan ko pa kayo ng partida. Sasailalim din ako sa fair, open, credible, and transparent hair follicle drug test. Dalawang test ang kanyang gagawin laban sa isang test na hinihingi. Hindi lang ho ito ni Vice President Inday Sara. Hinihingi ng sambayan ng Pilipino. Sumailalim ang Pangulo, ang lahat ng nasa ilalim na Executive Department sa isang open, fair, transparent, and credible hair follicle drug test.
Why are you insisting on a hair follicle test?
Para
Others?
talaga walang dayaan. Dahil alam naman natin ang nangyayari, lahat parang nagiging transactional na. And probably this can be undertaken under the auspices of the Philippine Medical Association, among others. Yung mga credible na grupo.
But why are we zeroing in on a hair follicle test as something that's essential? Is there any implication that drugs are being used?
Titingnan lang natin yung nangyayari ngayon sa ating gobyerno. Sino ba ang namumuno? Sino ba ang may mandato? Sino ba nagmamando? Ang gulo-gulo na. At ako'y bahagi noon. Ang gaganda ng mensahe, we were campaigning under the banner of unity and continuity. Nasaan na ngayon yan? Sinira dahil lamang sa ambisyon ng iisang tao.
Siguro dadagdagan ko yung sinabi.
But sino yung iisang taong
Alam naman
ambisyon?
natin, ang tinitingnan agad yung 2028. At ang nagiging lahat naman ng problema nagmumula sa mababang kapulungan. Sino ba ang namumuno sa mababang kapulungan? Hindi ba't si Martin Romualdez? At open naman yung sinasabi nila, inuubos yung pera ng gobyerno sa ayuda, ginagawa tayong ayuda nation. So once and for all, para matigil na yan, at kung hindi ka naman talaga guilty sa inaakusa sa'yo, di ba mag-drug test ka na dito using the hair follicle drug test.
Ako, Attorney Karen, ang pupuntuhan ko lang, sino ba ang Pangulo? Hindi mo nararamdaman kung sino ang Pangulo sa mga sitwasyon na ito eh. So babalik tayo. Hair follicle test, I'm challenging the present, the incumbent, Mr. Bongbong Marcos. Please do that. So that itong mga agam-agam mawala. Sino ang nag-govern? Sino ang accountable? Sino ang leader? Kasi kung inaalaw mo itong mangyari dahil sa programa ni Speaker Martin o ng asawa mo, hindi sila halal bilang Pangulo. Yun yung mandato ng pagiging Pangulo, mabigat, mahirap, matrabaho, pero yun ang ginusto mo, tumakbo ka bilang presidente. So accountable ka sa amin.
So but should that hair follicle test come out negative, then what then? What would be the what are you asking
Ay,
for?
matagal na kasing hinihingi yan eh. Pero kung negative, edi negative. Bumalik tayo sa governance. Ayusin natin. Ayusin at itama. Kasi, alam mo, ang nakakalungkot dito, pag hindi na itama, may 3 tayong taon na ganito tayo. Samantalang ang ating mga kapitbahay sa ASEAN, lumalago. Tayo, magkano na ang peso? Magkano ang trabahador hindi makakita ng trabaho? Yung supposedly pump-priming the economy through the infrastructure projects, wala. Samantalang nung COVID bakit nabuhay ang ekonomiya? Dahil ang gobyerno nag-decide itapusin ang mga infrastructure project. So, may sweldo, nakakabili, ang presyo kontrolado dahil COVID. So, ako nalulungkot kasi kung sa susunod na 3 taon, ganito pa tayo. Kawawa ang kinabukasan ng ating mga anak. Ang mga susunod na salinlahi. Nakakalungkot yun.
Well, before, some people were still hoping for a reconciliation in the UNI team. If that possibility is very dim, what would be your advice to Vice President Sara?
Patuloy lang niya na maging maisog na namumuno At nasa likod po ninyo, Vice President Inday Sara Duterte, ang higit na nakararaming Pilipino. Alam niyo po yan. At yan napatunayan sa final count ng inyong boto. At yung kanyang pinakitang tapang at determinasyon sa gitna ng panganib noong siya ay nasa loob ng batasan, yan po ang hinahanap ng tao, yung tunay na leader sa panahon ng krisis. Pagpatuloy po nyo yan at dagdag ko lang bilang Panghuli siguro, Attorney Karen, yung sinasabing paano ko nag-negative doon sa open, fair, and transparent hair credible drug test. Di mabuti. Mabuti para doon sa inaakusahan na gumagamit ng droga. Mabuti para sa sambayan ng Pilipino na panatag ng ating loob na tayo ay hindi pinapamunuan at hindi tayo pinapaligiran ng mga drug dependents or drug users.
Professor Malu, any
Sa akin,
message?
siguro kay Vice Presidente, be a fiscalizer. Bantayan ho nyo ang budget ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Kasi yung budget na yan, hindi nagagamit ang veto power ng Presidente. Veto power saan? Veto power, itong sa ayuda, nakakasuka ho yan. Kung saan pinagkunan ang pondo para makalikom ng 800 million. Nakakasuka ang flood control projects na in-announce na nung kanyang SONA. Magkano ho yan? 1.3 trillion. Saan napunta? 700 billion napunta sa Bicol. 70 billion napunta sa Region 8. Nasaan ang Calamity Fund, yung QRF? Bakit all of a sudden nawala? Bakit inaalaw ang speaker? Oo, ang pondo galing sa House of Representatives. Pero pag kinumpare mo yung NEP to Gov, ay talagang ang ibang-iba. Pag lumabas, mas lalong iba. Bakit ang Pangulo aalsin ang counterpart fund para sa foreign assisted project? Bansa yan. Programa yan. Natuloy na yan. Dumaan na sa NEDA. Kaya nga nasa budget. Why will you allow that? So, kung hindi mo binabantayan ang budget, yun ang single document na every year pinapasa ng Kongreso. Yun ang hingi ko kay Vice Presidente. Bantayan ho nyo ang budget line by line, lalo na ang special provisions.
Thank you so much, Professor Malu and Attorney Vic. It was really a pleasure to have you both here today.
Thank you, Attorney Karen. Thank you, Professor Malu.
Thank you.
When Vice President Sara Duterte blew her top on social media, she seems to have reached the limit of being barraged with allegations and her perceived political persecution. But her allies are confident that the Vice President would weather this political challenge to come out unvanquished in the end.